Hello everyone, this is Summer from Bujo, Beni. Today we're going to do a quick reading journal setup for June as well as my June TBR. I originally intended for these to be two different videos, but there was a malfunction with my SD card and I lost most of the journal setup footage. So I'll show you guys a little bit I was able to save, which isn't much, and then we'll move on to June's TBR. So here we go. So for this setup, I decided to carry over the torn paper vibes from the yearly setup using some craft paper and some gridded paper I printed out myself, since normally graph paper tends to have a grayish color to it. At least the graph paper I can find around here. I usually like to do my lettering on a separate piece of paper in case I mess up, since I'm still pretty new to it. Then I simply cut and glue. I was going to turn the page on the left into a decorative quote page, but then later decided to make it an actual quote page for me to write my favorite quotes I read throughout the month. As you can see, I pretty much have nothing to show for the last few pages, but let's go ahead and do a flip through so you guys can see the finished products. But before that, I just wanted to show you guys this ancient Kindle Fire HDX, 3rd generation I think, that I found hiding away in storage last week. I haven't even seen this thing since middle school or early high school. At first it refused to start, but I finally managed to revive it. Since my physical bookshelf is kind of limited right now due to the whole pandemic situation, I thought it would be a good idea to use this bad boy to expand my options. It's still logged into my mom's Amazon account, so it has all the books I used to love to read, and then some that I never got around to yet. Okay, now onto the flip through. As I mentioned before, I have my favorite quotes page set up as well as my June TBR, which we'll go through in a bit more detail soon. On the left is my days and pages read. This is a prime example as to why I do my lettering on a separate piece of paper first, but oh well, what's done is done. Anyways, I have a section for physical books and another section for ebooks that I read on my Kindle Fire. I decided I'll go ahead and write the number of pages I read in a day inside the boxes as a way to mark that I read on that day, as well as keep track of how many pages. These rectangles are a place for me to tally up and write down my total pages read for the entire month. On this next page we have my books read page, where I'll print the book covers and give them star ratings. I'm also thinking about doing reading vlogs and monthly wrap-ups, but we'll see. And that's all I have for my setup right now. I figure I might add a few spreads about books that really catch my attention. If so, you'll see them in the final flip through in the next month's setup. So now on to my June TBR. The first book on my TBR is Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell. This is a cute little book of poetry that I picked up back in February as part of my mini birthday haul. The back of the book has a comment from the Chainsmokers that reads, "As songwriters, poetry has always played a special role in our lives. We discovered Pillow Thoughts, and it has been one of the most enjoyable books we have read in a long time." The back also says, "Pillow Thoughts is a collection of poetry and prose about heartbreak, love, and raw emotions. It is divided into sections to read when you feel you need them most. Make a cup of tea and let yourself feel." Next on my TBR is Her by Pierre Alex Gianti. As you can see, the cover is kind of plain and bland, but there are a lot of beautiful illustrations within the book. There isn't a synopsis or anything of any sort on the back or inside the book, so all I know is that it's a poetry book written by a man of color. As you can see, I've got a bookmark in it already because I attempted to start reading it in the beginning of May, but ended up not having time because of college finals. Next up is a collection of short stories from a local author named Doug German. I was supposed to read this book for my Creating Stories class and then go to a book reading / signing with the author, but as we all know, everything got canceled. I did read the first story out of 7, but I'll leave my comments out in case I do decide to do a reading vlog or monthly wrap-up video. The last physical book on my list is Night by Elie Wiesel, which I'm pretty sure most people have read for school, but in case you haven't read it yet, it's basically the story of Elie Wiesel and his family in the concentration camps during World War II. I love reading these stories, and I remember really enjoying this book, and I've been wanting to reread it for a long time, so why not do it now? I'm only going to be reading 2 ebooks this month. The first one I'll be reading on my phone with the Kindle app under my own Amazon account, which is Four Perfect Pebbles by Lila Pearl. As the cover says, it's another Holocaust memoir, but I haven't read this one, so I'm hoping I'll like it as much as I liked reading Night. Lastly, we have Skunk Girl by Sheba Karen, and I'll be reading this one on my Kindle Fire. Skunk Girl is about a 16-year-old Pakistani girl in America struggling to deal with living up to high expectations and dealing with 2 different cultures in high school. I think the title has something to do with the fact that she has the stripe of hair going up her back, which seems to be a Pakistani trait, according to things I've read about the book. But anyways, that's my reading list for June 2020. It consists of a lot of smaller books, but I didn't want to push myself too hard since I'm not used to reading a whole lot anymore. I'm hoping to change that though. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!